Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, we're about to jump straight into Game 4 for the African Kingdoms Expert 3v3 Showcase, hosted by myself, Resonance22, and Robo, who will be joining me to co-cast today. This is Game 4 in the Best of 5 series, and the goal of these matches is to show us how the top Age of Empires 2 experts will play the brand new expansion. For Game 4, we're going to be doing Regicide Fortress. Unfortunately, we have to actually do the standard Fortress map because all the custom random maps don't work for no reason. And one thing I'm very excited about, of course, is the draft here, which I'll flash on the screen really briefly. The important thing here to note is, one, I think the Malians will be a huge power play. I also have no idea how the Incas actually fits into Rain's draft, so I'm looking forward to this one. Let's do this.
Oh, and it's worked this time.
Oh, man. All right, to mix it up, how about I introduce the Rain team, and then you can introduce NC. So we got Barles in the left side of the map. He will be playing as the purple and or pink Mayans. A little bit above him, we have Spring playing as the yellow Berbers, and on the bottom flank of their team, we have Kongensgade playing as the gray Incas.
And versus Kong, we have Nili playing as the Malians in red. Their pocket civ is Pedro as the Spanish, which is quite a good civ with their Spanish conquistadors, very strong in the Castle Age. And then the right-hand flank is Andorin playing as the Slavs.
I've got my eye on this Inca pick, man. Like, there is a lot of weird things that you could do with this. I don't think we're going to see a Dark Age Trush for the stone bonus, but we'll have to see. I think, though, that this game will really more or less revolve around the Malians pick from NilPferD here, as in the late game, those champions with the extra pierce armor and the halberdiers as well, they're essentially Huskarls with better combat stats, and it's going to be very difficult, I think, for the opposing team to deal with that. They do have answers in their own champions and slingers, and Incas versus Malians, I imagine, isn't a terrible matchup. I wonder if we'll see Gabitos or Camel Archers, though.
I think Camel Archers are expected just for their raiding potential, and Gabitos, they're a little bit slower. So they're going to be a lot harder for them to get around the map and be able to do any raiding.
Well, speaking of harder to get around the map, Kongensgade's gate is pretty bad. That is an unfortunate sight to behold. His gate at the front is actually not an exit to his base, so if he wants to push out there, he's going to have to build another gate or walk all the way around or delete a hole, so that's going to be really annoying. So we see all the players at the start, of course, scouting around with their king, because despite being a very pudgy man, he is in excellent physical condition, does run quite quickly, and has fantastic 20/20 vision. Very good line of sight, although Spring going to put him back in his castle to try and avoid running him in there and just dying.
The Incan king just running past NilPferD's base. Damn, that is a beautiful model. Look at it go. He's not even fat. Why did he get a special king? Do the African guys get a special king?
Yeah, they actually do. We saw Spring running around with that a little bit earlier. The Incas king is actually in remarkably good physical shape. Wow.
This is impressive.
Oh, look at him go. That's how I run in real life.
You got the full walking stick as well?
Oh, yeah. I move my arms that fast, of course. This is going to be a great one. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the Incas versus Malians play out. And the Slavs, too. We might not see that much Slavic Boyar play, because they don't make, I guess, the greatest sort of raiding unit on Regicide Fortress, because you can't really get past those walls. But maybe. The Boyar are a very strong unit. Essentially, they are... You can kind of consider them to be like a paladin with, you know, more dur armor, so they're more resistant versus melee units, but weaker to ranged units.
Oh, they're still not a bad unit.
Not at all.
Like they have their uses, most certainly.
And even though they have one less pierce armor, they are still pretty good against those ranged units. Kongensgade luring his boar with his Eagle Scout. One of the more annoying parts of playing Fortress, of course, is actually luring that boar. It's going to be close, but he will be able to secure it right underneath the town center. Solid lure.
And also the Incan free llama would actually be quite useful in this map, I feel. Because normally there are no sheep whatsoever on this map. So one free sheep, that's a big deal, right? All that extra scouting you could get with that.
And the llama actually has slightly better line of sight than a sheep does. Oh, if you're looking for the African Kingdom specific king, if you look into Pedro's base, NilPferD doing a little bit of sightseeing, hanging around that town center for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why he's there. Oh, he's in that castle. He's in Pedro's castle. So he's, I guess, like, NilPferD is a little bit concerned that his castle is just too far forward, and he doesn't want to risk it, so he's hanging on Pedro's castle. 2 kings together.
Oh, well, imagine if they went for a king snipe on blue and they got 2 kings.
That would be unfortunate. Speaking of unfortunate, Kongensgade here, not used to the ridiculous HD lag that we've had since African Kingdoms, trying to lure this boar all the way over here without loom is going to be tricky business. That villager will die.
Oh, that was bad.
The boars and elephants in this series so far have slain so many poor innocent villagers.
And the problem with RF is you don't start off with any gold, so you can't do loom to help you get a really bad boar.
Yeah.
Which is generally the reason why most people will lure with their scout. Because they don't want to risk getting their king, sorry, not their king, their villagers killed by the
boar, yeah.
Yeah.
Kongensgade couldn't do that, unfortunately, because his original scout was just so very low on HP after the first lure, so he is in an unfortunate situation. Meanwhile, everyone else's king still scout.
He could have jumped in his town center to heal up for a little bit if he'd wanted to.
Yeah, you're right. He's up to 33 HP off that passive regen, so I guess he just didn't really want to wait that long?
Possibly, but I think it probably would have been a much wiser choice judging from where that boar is. At the least, he should have deleted a wall near his castle for a slightly smaller lure. Trying to go all the way around that sort of extended wood line.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Of course, everything is easier in hindsight, though. Everybody moving on their way up to the feudal age and then transitioning into the castle age after that. They're also very easily defended thanks to these watchtowers, castles, and stone walls, so might as well just go straight to the castle age. And wow, these kings juking the watchtower shots. It looks like Pedro has it stable, so maybe he's going to be going for some sort of knight play.
I think that is mostly just for bloodlines.
Oh, no, you make a good point. Yeah, he's Spanish. Whoops. Okay, so he's getting bloodline, still have an extra 20 HP. Yeah, I forgot he was Spanish there for a minute. I wonder if we'll see Boyars here. What do you think?
Ooh, maybe not early, because just like normal Teutonic Knights and Cataphracts, they're quite an expensive unit, and seeing as most of the other unique units we see are going to be ranged units, I don't think it'll really pay off that much, because their strength is mostly versus infantry and cavalry sort of units. Oh, Kong just killed his boar with the town center.
God, it's that input delay. He's not used to it.
Oh, that was... So that boar has killed a villager, an eagle, and then given him no food.
Yup. That is one hell of a boar. And it looks like NC, once again, going for their patented team wall approach, which so far has been working out swimmingly for them, as long as they can get it off. The previous game, not so much. I'm looking forward to seeing where these players are going from here. It's particularly what the Incas' plan is.
Honestly, I think it's probably going to be a sling. Because I don't see what you're able to do with the Incas in a castle age situation.
Why not pick something like, I guess, the Indians for a stronger economy to sling? I'm not really sure. He's putting down a town center right now. I've got my eye on... Okay, so he's putting down another town center. He's on the flank, so sling will be a little bit more risky, too.
Yeah, but I think it's possible that Nili might be slinging as well. Because that's what he has done so far in the other games. So I'm just got a feeling he might go for it again.
Well, I'll be watching to see if there are any tributes floating around. Meanwhile, Pedro, of course, going for those conquistadors. Conquistadors a great choice on this map because you already start with the castle, so you don't need to invest any prior stone in them. And while they're ranged, they have fantastic combat stats for the castle age, so you can poke at villagers over the walls. And oh my goodness, yes! I knew... Yeah, part of me inside's like, I knew I was onto something with this fast castle age Camel Archer Rush. It looks like the Berbers, Spring's making Camel Archers.
And he's got Bodkin Arrow, but the problem is they seem to make it incredibly slowly.
Yeah, and that's to balance out the fact that you can get Casbah, I believe, which makes your castles and your teammates' castles work 25% faster. With Conscription means that they come out ridiculously fast in the Imperial Age, but in the Castle Age they make, unfortunately, a little bit slower. They do not have an attack bonus versus Conquistadors, though, which Spring might not know, and it's not necessarily that intuitive.
Really? I thought Conks counted as Cav Archers.
Not in Spaghetti Land, or maybe they got changed.
This is so confusing.
It is really confusing. Like
they get the Camel Archer armor. Oh. Just making life difficult for us.
Or maybe it was changed, because like the War Wagon was changed. That's now classified as a cavalry archer because in the closed beta for African Kingdoms, which I helped balance a bit and test, Camel Archers didn't do anything versus War Wagons or Genitours, which are now cavalry archers for that sake. So maybe it's been changed, but at least in the beta they didn't do anything versus Conquistadors, which I thought made the unit a lot weaker, because I thought that they would be a pretty good counter, I guess, to the Spanish going for Conquistadors in the Castle Age. But it so turns out, this unit is best used as an answer to, I think, Mongol Elite Mangudai.
Yeah, and is it just me, or does it have a slower speed than the Conquistadors?
It might just. The thing with this unit is, it has good enough combat stats that it's actually usable as a unit, but it's certainly no Mangudai, and wow, they keep missing these shots. We'll never know if they have an attack bonus versus Conquistadors.
I mean, there's so many of them now that they're going to be doing too much damage to really tell.
I don't think they do. That's unfortunate. Either way, this thing has respectable stats compared to the regular Cavalry Archer. The 1 extra attack, and eventually you can upgrade them to have HP regen. Pedro, there's no way he can fight this. Okay, yeah, that tickled. That didn't do anything. So, Camel Archers confirm no attack bonus versus Conquistadors. Funny how Age of Empires 2 works like that. Either way, Pedro, under a lot of pressure as these ranged units are moving in. There's defensive Mangonel here for Andorin. He's going to try his best to boom up and defend against this and perhaps make some plays later on in the game. No bloodlines yet for Pedro, as he just doesn't really have the resources for it, and these Plumed Archers trying to get in here, but the quick wall finally is going to block them off.
Oh, well, I'm just hoping there'll be a good Mangonel shot. Oh, we're getting 2 vills, because Andorin hasn't done Loom. So it's very, very easy to raid versus the players who haven't got Loom yet.
On Regicide, you do not start with the 50 gold that you need for Loom, and as a result, a bunch of those villagers are going to go down for free. I wonder if Spring made these thinking that since, well, the Conquistador is a unit on a horse, it's a ranged horse unit, shouldn't it be weak to this? No, because War Wagons are. Elephant Archers are. No.
I certainly assumed that, so I think that's quite a strong possibility.
Genitors didn't exist before African Kingdoms in their current state, Xavier Tenka. So I'm talking about like the Berbers units. I don't know what they were considered in the code. I think actually the Camel Archer attack bonus is like manually coded or something. I'm not exactly sure how it works. The one that we had in the scenario editor, I don't know what that was classified as either.
That was the militia that threw big giant ass javelins, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, just like they did in history.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Rain on the aggressive side, yet again, trying to zone Pedro off. So Pedro does have to walk back his guys. Spring's going to have a lot of trouble reinforcing against this. I don't really think that this forward aggression will actually do that much versus Pedro, as Pedro does have a town center right there. It'll force a little idle time, but I don't think that'll make a huge impact.
They can always run around the back of Pedro's base, around the edge of the water there, and move into Nili. And Nili is completely open the back of his base, seeing as they're team-walled. So that could be quite dangerous if they did that. Oh, but Pedro is not an idiot. He is in there building a palisade wall. Ah,
yes. Pedro, not born yesterday, of course, does recognize this. And he's even building a second layer of palisades just to deny that level of mobility. And Spring and Barles are just trying to find a vulnerable spot in these defenses, but Andorin still has these gates. He still has a Mangonel. He's incredibly well defended, and these ranged units not really going to accomplish that much here, but a huge army of Plumed Archers is moving out across the map.
That is very loud. I wonder if someone's going to make some petards and try to bust in somewhere.
That would be an interesting play. Petards in African Kingdoms actually only cost 60 food as opposed to the normal 80, so they're at least a little bit more efficient. A petard bust here could be quite devastating. Spring sort of desperate, kind of he's resorted to focus firing on the walls. They're just looking for places to harass, and they're just not able to find really anything.
No, yes. NC has been very smart so far. They're walling. Oh, and Andorin has just slung Nili. Oh, the Slav is slinging the Malian.
This is the type of thing I was definitely thinking during the draft, is that if we can get the Malians off to an incredibly strong start, if they get slung, perhaps buy the Slav player, who is definitely free to transition to something later on if they so need to. Giving NilPferD that massive head start could snowball the entire game. Those Malian champions are really difficult to deal with if they're backed up with a little extra money.
Oh, and their army that was in the back of the NC base is just being killed off by conks pretty much. So all those resources that are invested in army is just being completely wasted.
Barles will be able to get another snipe actually at the front of Andorin's base, but really that's not going to matter at all. Will this Mangonel shot be big? That's pretty good.
Oh, that was a pretty good shot. But to be honest, at this stage of the game, picking off 1 or 2 vills here and there is kind of just like small change, really, because everyone's on at least 3 town centers.
Yeah, it's not going to make a massive difference.
Yeah, you need to kill a good 5, 6, 7, 8 vills to really affect someone's economy.
Even though the Camel Archers, I guess, don't have an attack bonus versus Conquistadors, I think this unit at least has some potential due to its strong combat stats. It's just a decent unit. I don't think it's terrible against Conquistadors, but we'll have to see, playing around with the new civs more to really know for sure.
Ooh, I was just thinking that if Andorin deleted that stone wall on the far right-hand side, Spring could transport in.
That'd be really funny to actually see that in action. I mean, this is one of the downsides, or upsides, I suppose, of playing on the standard fortress map, is that there's water here. There's no fish in the water, but you can actually use it for transport purposes if you so desire.
It probably wouldn't be effective at all, but it'd be funny for the lols just suddenly 15 or so units popping up in the enemy base somewhere they don't expect it.
Another castle coming down for Kongensgade. A bunch of barracks. Show me the Kameyuks.
Oh, I'm sure he's definitely going for champions. He knows what's coming.
It's not actually going to be Kameyuks. A boy can dream, but alas, it's probably... Oh no, it's Eagle Warriors.
Well, that's going to be a horrible, horrible choice with champions coming from Malians.
Yeah, I would say that the Incan Eagle Warriors are very underrated and normally a better option than I think popular opinion would say, due to the fact that couriers give them a lot more armor. It's going to match up really poorly, though, against these Malian champions, which are most certainly on the way for NilPferD. And, perhaps the Incan champions would have been a little bit better choice here. Maybe you back them up with a few slingers, which still do a little bit of damage. You kind of need champions to deal with the really high pierce armor and relatively, I guess, weaker melee stats of the Malian champion, because they don't have blast furnace.
And it's not like you can do the standard miso thing where like you get your plumed archers to come in and help, because these Malian champions, they've got 8 pierce armor.
Yeah, they're not going to take any damage whatsoever.
Yeah, so the Mayan player is pretty much useless in helping Kong out at the moment. And the exact same thing with Spring making Camel Archers. They do nothing with these champions.
Well, all you people who've been playing plenty of African Kingdoms recently are about to get triggered. Here comes the Malians Imperial Age champions. Look at that pierce armor, 1+7, so many capped rams. Here comes the Mayan plumed archers, the traditional counter to infantry type units. Ze goggles, they do nothing. He must retreat.
Well, I guess if he's got the time, he could just micro for days and days and just pick them off one at a time.
Wow.
As he is trying to do. Look at the tiny amounts of damage he does.
Spring, pausing the game, strategic... Oh no, that's NilPferD who's pausing the game.
That was Nilly.
Yeah. He's trying to take it all in right now, of course. So much, so much power.
I think he's using this pause so that Barles will ruin his micro, and then all the champions will swarm them.
That would be really funny. Unlimited power! He doesn't even have the champion upgrade yet, but he doesn't really need it. Look how little damage these guys actually take from those elite plumed archers. The only way really to deal with the Malian champions and halberdiers is generally to just produce stronger melee units than them. Now, cavalry units, similar when you're playing against the Goths, can be somewhat discouraged because they can easily just mass a bunch of halberdiers, so you always have to keep that in the back of your mind, even though cavalry can be good. So you really want to be thinking about having like better champions, because the Malians lack blast furnace and they have no extra melee armor, so they will lose to that, but they don't have champions.
Reds, Pedro is asking if docking is allowed. We did not say anything saying that docking wasn't allowed, did we?
No, we didn't. I think it's... I mean, I'm open to your thoughts, but I imagine that it should be fine. I just didn't want them to accidentally fish in the early game.
Yeah, I was just making sure that you didn't say that they weren't allowed to dock.
No, I just told them not to fish. I didn't want them thinking that there was actually fish in this, like in 1.0C, and then them being like, oh my god, my build order.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. I just wanted to make sure that no one's going to turn around and say, oh, but you said we couldn't dock. No, just covering our bases.
Yes. Hello, NilPferD.
So I'm guessing this means that Andorin's going to go land spring?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, maybe, yeah. That would be pretty funny, and that could
The
actually work
opposite
out
of
very
what I
well.
said.
Does Rain know that they're allowed to dock as well?
Well, the problem is that if I tell them that they're allowed to dock, then they know that someone's going to transport.
Well, that's a really awkward position to be in then, I suppose.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure that we didn't say that they weren't allowed to dock.
I think we should still message them anyway, but I mean, if you want it to be fair, you can give them like a 30-second delay to make it harder. You know, just be like, oh, just to be clear, if you ever, you know, like, you can build docks. If you wanted to.
This is a difficult situation. I think I'll wait until someone builds a dock and then say it.
Okay, that's fair.
Just so there's still a little bit of a surprise factor.
Oh, the NilPferD, you can see it on the screen. This is Robo.
Hello.
Marcus, I live in America where we have freedom from good internet, so my upload and download speed's not so great. But you know what is great? Malian champions backed up by some capped rams and trebuchets as NilPferD coming in here, absolutely decimating our unfortunate Incas player. Kongensgade realizing he's like, oh my god, Eagle Warriors, they do nothing. He doesn't even have the extra armor yet. Unfortunately, that's a lot of Elite Eagle Warriors, and he will at least be able to destroy all those siege weapons. But champions, I think, are going to be the way to go here, or he'll need some backup from Barles or something, but Barles only has plumed archers, which won't do anything.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think Pedro may be going for Kongensgalians. Spanish Kongensgalians.
Chat telling me not to tell
Possibly.
them. I think it's cheating either way,
Yes.
because if you know, if Rain doesn't think that they're allowed to build docks, then that's not fair, so, yeah, just saying.
Well, to be honest, I
both
think the game is... I think it's pretty over at this stage.
Yeah, I don't think it'll even matter, so... Well, it looks like Kongensgade gonna have a lot of trouble defending with these Eagle Warriors, and you know, NilPferD just running roughshod over the entire opposing team. This is what I feared, man. Those Malian champions, they're too strong, but here comes the Camel Archers. But the keyword is archers. These are all units that the Malian champions match up very favorably against.
Oh yeah, Pedro's researching chemistry. I think Kongensgalians is the go. He's researching War Galley. Okay, maybe just Galleons. Maybe, do you need War Galley to get Kongensgalians? I don't think so.
I don't think you do. Oh man, this is like every game African Kingdom so far. What a sight to behold. The Malians, they're just too strong. Here comes the Camel Archers, and these guys are soaking up these attacks quite nicely.
Well, to be honest, there is quite a lot of archers here, and the champions, they're sort of just streaming in one at a time.
Yes.
So it's not an absolutely horrible fight, but those onagers, if they get up any hits, they're going to be quite deadly.
Barles says, good Huscarlo champs. Yes. That's why I like that NilPferD is actually throwing in a bunch of onagers with his champions as a way to deal with all those mass range units, and they're gonna call GG! So it looks like Rain is... Yeah, that's the end of the series. So NC claiming it 3-1.
Oh, those are great games.
Oh, and right in time because I'm running out of voice and or energy. But they did it. So congratulations to NC for a pretty convincing victory in this game. So I guess we never had to deal with the whole docking shenanigans. Yeah, the Eagle Warrior choice unfortunately just didn't pan out. A lot of this comes with the fact that these guys are new to African Kingdoms. These are some of their first games with it. I know that NC did a little bit of practicing somewhat recently, and Spring did, but not every team member did, so... they're still getting used to the new metagame, and I look forward to perhaps doing another one of these in the future where we get to see how players have adapted to the Malian Huscarl metagame.
I think I may have realized what they're doing. Are you still in the game?
Oh, no. Whoops.
Okay, well, Spring's king was in a tower near the water, and Spanish Kongensgalians get ballistics.
Oh.
And they had a scout stuck inside Spring's base earlier in the game, and they saw the king was in the tower.
That's
So they
actually
could have been
brilliant.
going. They could have been going for the ultimate king snipe.
The Germans prepared for everything. That is a really, really smart play there. And King Snipes and Regicide always get me excited. If you see the little flag on top of a watchtower, it can be, you know, it's basically a good indication that there's most definitely a king inside. And a lot of people try to put their king inside a watchtower instead of a castle if they're massing their unique unit so that they don't accidentally ungarrison it and it dies. But in this case, we can see that Spring's king was actually very, very vulnerable, and I would have loved to see that. But that was just NC's backup plan. Their plan A was really strong.
So do we want to do some interviews with the players?
Yes, let's go do that as I swing through the achievements really, really quickly. And then we'll do a really brief pause, and yeah, I'd be happy to do some interviews with NC. And we'll try and keep it somewhat short, but I'd be happy to, with NC's permission, to take a couple of questions from the Twitch chat as well. I don't want people spamming questions, though, so I might swap it to slow mode right before that. And as always, before we jump into the interview and whatnot, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching the entire time, sticking with us. We really, really appreciate the support. I'll be posting the VODs on YouTube soon, so keep your eyes peeled for them, and hopefully at some point I actually get to cast a tournament sometime in the afternoon. These are some really solid matches. I really enjoyed them, and yeah, if you guys are interested in more expert commentaries, plenty of that on my YouTube page. I have plenty of other just miscellaneous gameplay or informational videos and videos for other games. So thank you as well, Robo, for organizing the event and joining us. But guys, don't go anywhere, as we're about to do an interview with NC, where you guys can ask a couple questions too.
Yes, we're in the Voobly TeamSpeak channel at the moment.
I will go hop in there in just a moment. And in case anyone got the wrong impression, I don't think the Malians are that crazy. There are ways of dealing with them. You just have to be prepared and you have to see it coming. It's the exact same thing as the Goths, perhaps a little bit scarier. Whereas you have to have an idea, you have to have a plan for Goths Huskarls, otherwise they're gonna get you.